wounds that follow us from our past and whatever it is, and then we don't know how to deal with it, whether probably it might be from the family side or even something that we picked up as we grew up, not knowing what was really going on. I'm here to share a testimony about myself. I am Tanaka, aged 27. I've been going through a journey. It all started back in 2012, 2013. I would find myself drinking alcohol as I was still a child. I would have this hunger of saying, I really want to taste this. I really want to have more of this. And that's when I then started going to clubs, started having parties. I would say I was called a guru, an alcohol guru, or a party freak. I always knew what was happening around town. I always knew where to find the cheapest alcohol, and I always knew the new recipes that you would take alcohol with. Fast forward, 2017, I went to Cyprus. I was doing my degree there, business administration. I remember when I was in Cyprus, 2018, the 21st of October, it was on a Sunday. I'd gone out on the previous day, which was a Saturday, and when I woke up, I was like, I have a hangover. So instead of sleeping at home, I then also went out and bought more booze and came back home, and then I started drinking. Now the problem with my drinking, what then would happen was every time I would drink alcohol, I would get the urge that I would really want to smoke, and I really would smoke cigarettes like no man's business. On a normal daily basis, if you would give me a cigarette, I wouldn't take it. But then the moment I would start drinking, whether I drink a sip or a cup, a few cups later, I now would want cigarettes, and I would then smoke like any other guy who's smoking in the streets, because it would be a cigarette after every cigarette. Probably in a day, I would then need probably 2 or 3 boxes. So now it really just then got really that serious. So now this day, as I was home, when I was drinking now, I felt the urge to smoke. And then when I felt the urge to smoke, I lived in the 3rd floor in my apartment. And then my next door neighbor, who was from the next apartment, he also lived in the 3rd floor, and he was also a chain smoker. I saw him smoking by the balcony, and then I asked him for a cigarette, and then he told me that he couldn't pass it to me. If I wanted a cigarette, I had to jump over to his apartment. But because of that urge, because I really wanted that cigarette, I then just went from my balcony to his balcony. When I went to his balcony, I then slipped and then fell from that 3rd floor, which was almost at least 7 meters high, straight on the concrete floor that was down. Instantly, I was supposed to die. I was unconscious. The only thing that happened, I broke my right wrist. That's the only thing that I got injured. I was admitted to the hospital. I had a plaster on my right hand, which is my power hand, which means by then the whole because I had just started the semester, the whole semester was wasted, because now I wasn't able to write with my right hand. I couldn't even use my left hand just to write or even teach it to write. So the whole semester I wasn't going to school. I would just wake up, I would be at home, watch movies, and then if I wanted a few items, I would go out. And then also during that course, in my injury times, I would then also find myself going back, and then I would buy alcohol, and then I would come back again and drink. Fast forward again, I then came back to Zimbabwe, 2019 in June. 2019, when I came in June, since I was back home in Zimbabwe, Mutare, Born Place, everyone knew me. I was the king. I would get, even if I didn't have money, just by myself, just showing up at the bar, I would get friends that would just say, guy, let's drink. I would drink. My drinking, by then I would say, it was normal. I would drink, and then I would go home, or at times I wouldn't say, now I'm too drunk, I can't go back home. I would sleep at a friend's place. And then it then got to a point where it really was then getting to me. It was more like I was now going psychotic. Because of this alcohol addiction, I started choosing beer. I was like, no, I don't take Black Label, I don't take whiskey. And then I got to a point where I just told myself, I was like, mdara, beer. Chikurudini kubatwa. And that was my statement every time. I found myself going to buy even cheap alcohol. We're talking about teku teku, we're talking about Royal, everything that was just there. I just wanted to drink it so that I would get high. Up it got to a point where every money that I would get, I wouldn't think of anything. I would just go and buy alcohol. Every money I would get, I would look for the next person. Guys, what's there? What's popping? Let's go pop bottles. And then now it then became a routine that every Thursday, every Friday, I would go out and I wouldn't come back home. Probably I would come back home on a Tuesday. I would come back home on a Monday. No one at home knew where I was. My mom imagine the stress and the pain that my mom was going through, not knowing where. At first she used to care, where's my son? And then she would look for me. Then it just got to a point where like, tozomona adzokakumba ndo zvatongori izvozvozvo. It then got to a point where I wouldn't even reason the smallest of things. I wouldn't even reason. Even if you say pick up this lollipop, it fell down. I always wanted to over reason for the smallest things. I wouldn't reason, and it was more like my brain was going haywire. Anything that I would touch, it would just go away. Whether it's a relationship, a very good relationship, it would go away. Good friends, the good friends that I had, they then started moving away from me. And then I was there, left alone, and then left with those guys. You just know we're just thinking we are enjoying our lives. That's the life that I was living. It then got to a point where I then started taking some of my stuff from my own house, going to sell just so that I'll get money for alcohol. It really was affecting me, not just mentally, not just physically. Even my health started depreciating. Imagine I used to weigh 72.8 kgs. I dropped from 72.8 kgs to about 50 kgs. Imagine that massive drop. I got to a point where I knew that every 2 weeks I had to buy a new phone, because every time I would go out, I would lose a phone. I would come back home phoneless. Every 2 weeks or every weekend I would go out, I would need a new phone. I would go buy a phone. Up until I got to a point I was like, no, this WhatsApp and whatnot, let me not buy big phones. Let me buy Kambudzi. I would buy these small phones, these small Nokia phones or Itel phones, and then that's the one that I would use. And then I would use my friends' phones. So even if you would want to communicate with me, we wouldn't communicate. My relationship with people from home, it then got tense. No one would want to part away with $1 because they thought that every money that I would get, I would then take it to alcohol. I lost trust in people. It's really something that really was affecting my life, and I didn't know how to go about it. So you'd see my life was now in a little box. So fast forward, after everything happened and all that, in 2023, February 25th, it was a Saturday, Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa, I would believe the angel sent above by God came into my life. That's when he ministered to me.
I need people that are addicted to drugs. You want to stop taking drugs. Mama, drugs are illegal.
Not all drugs which
vamwe vanotora madrugs emapiritsi agara anofanira kunge achirapa zvimwe zvirwere anoramba achitorwa imwe mishonga yezvikosoro yekuramba ichingotorwa kusvika. So I'm not going to interview people here, but ndoda ngomeka sure kuti wauya pawadeedzwa. Vamwe inongori alcohol, still iyoyo kana uri addicted, you want to stop, you can still stop. And handisi kuda vanhu vaya vari kuti inini nditogona kuregedza kana ndichigona. Watraya kuregedza zviri kuramba because zvine maproblems azvo. Uri kutodawo wakasiyana nevamwe vari kuzvifarira, iwe hauchadi, but you just cannot stop. You want the Lord to help you.
It really was a struggle. I tried stopping by myself. I don't want to lie. During this course of the years, I tried stopping, but then I wouldn't. It really was hard for me.
All right. Ndunzireva kuti ava problems nema-drugs.
Can you bring forward those with challenges of drug addiction?
Usauye muchirepresenta mumwe munhu.
Don't come representing someone.
Imimi.
I want those
Imimi wacho.
who are struggling with addictions.
Usauye wakamirira hama kana shamwari.
Don't
Uya
come
iwewe wacho. Ndiwe hama yacho,
representing
ndiwe
a
shamwari
relative or
yacho.
friend.
Vakatatakura dragon yava.
He has come with his dragon energy drink, which is addicted to.
Just look at that.
After the prayer from the man of God, Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa, I really felt so light. After I felt so light, on my way from church, going home, I met some of the guys that I would sit in the corners with street corners and whatnot. They were actually drinking alcohol, but then I didn't find myself wanting that alcohol or whatever it is that they had, and I really didn't even want to listen to their conversations. From that moment, I then knew that the prayer from the man of God really helped me, and it really changed my life. And the money that I worked for during the course of the week, the $60, I found myself saving it and even buying grocery for us to take at home, which I never used to do. I found myself putting my needs first and not thinking about alcohol or anything else. Having the man of God minister to me, it's a sign that God has actually increased my lifespan. Because if you look at it, alcohol, it affects our health. Like I'm saying, I lost weight from 72.8 kgs to 50 kgs. Imagine if I had kept on drinking, which means that I had actually become so slim, super slim. And also, who knows what I would have gotten from the tobacco that I was taking in, from the smoking that I was taking in, because tobacco, it contains a lot of tar. So my life was preserved, and even my finances, they were actually preserved, making me a better person and a better person for tomorrow. Now that I'm delivered, I am really happy, and I would like to thank our father, the great prophet, Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa, our watcher, the principality. And also, I would like to urge the youths out there who are at the same age with me that we should stop all this. But there are certain activities that we do thinking that we are having fun, all in the name of fun. I'll put in quotes, all in the name of fun. But then there's no such thing like that. We are actually destroying ourselves. We are actually destroying our lives. Because imagine I was going Konkai, I was about to go Konkai. Imagine, who knows, probably mentally retarded. So at the end of the day, I was going to end up in the streets. So it might be me today, but also you should also look at your life and then look back and then you sit down and think, is this what and then really think that, is this what I really want in my life? And then you start changing from there. I would also encourage you, if you find it very hard for you to live it, I would also encourage you see the man of God, Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa.
watraya kuregedza zviri kuramba
Looking for people who have tried to
ehe
stop,
because
but
zvine maproblems azvo
failing.
uri kutodawo hawakasiyana nevamwe vari kuzvifarira iwo hauchadi
You don't know how I want to be
but
this
you just
addiction.
cannot stop.
Asi hauchagoni
You want
kuzviregedza.
the Lord to help you.
Unoda kuti Ishe vakubatsire.
And then he will deliver you like he delivered me. And don't lose hope. I'd really want to thank Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa for being there, and I just want to thank for this covering, this anointing. It's just amazing. Thank you very much, Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa. Last but not least, I would also want to thank my family. I would really want to thank my mom. There are a lot of people that really lost hope, but she kept on being there for me. It's something else that's just awesome, and there's no one else who's got love like a mother's love. Thank you very much.